Everybody always gives a bouquet of roses, but why don't you try a bouquet of edible apple roses? They just take a few simple steps to make this delicious and glorious dessert, and you can impress absolutely anybody with them. Let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with our apples, and I've got some apples that I've already sliced here. I'm just going to take this and cut kind of thin little pieces of apple on my mandolin. And then I can add those to my pile, and what we're going to do is cut these into half circles. So just take a knife, you can stack these up, cut them in half, just like that, and we're going to lay these out on a plate. So they're kind of individual, we don't want them covered up too much. Lay those out like that, and then with a squeeze of lemon on top, just to stop them from browning. So squeeze that all over the top. And then I'm going to repeat this with the rest of my apples. So once they've got that final squeeze of lemon juice over the top, these are going to go in the microwave for about 45 seconds to a minute until they're slightly limp and pliable, and then we can come back and grab them. Okay, so our apples have cooked now, and I'm just going to let them cool slightly just on the side of the table. And meanwhile, I'm going to get my puff pastry ready. So this is ready-made puff pastry. I just took it out of the freezer, let it thaw a little bit. I'm going to put some bench flour down to stop it from sticking, and just unroll this puff pastry. Now what you want to do is cut this into about 6 strips. So I've got a pastry wheel here, you could use a knife if you don't have that, and I'm just going to swipe up until it's all sliced. So you're going to take one of your strips and lay it out in front of you. And I've got some melted butter here, which I'm going to spread all over this puff pastry. Just take a pastry brush, run that all over, and it's kind of got to act like a glue. And to the top of this, I've got some cinnamon sugar. So just a little bit of cinnamon into some super fine sugar, and you want to sprinkle this all over the top and just create a dusting that goes over. And once you've done that, you're going to pull over your apples. You're going to come back to these, and we're going to lay these kind of half moon shapes over the top of our puff pastry. So take one of your apples, which is now really pliable and easy to move, and you want to lay this over the top, and you want to leave about half of the puff pastry so that we can fold it over later. So take each apple, and you can let them overlap slightly, just like that, and lay them down really easily until you've covered the whole strip. Now once this is covered, you're going to lift up this bottom side that I told you to leave and fold it over the top, almost sealing these apples in, just like that, and press that down. And then to the top of that, we're going to add more melted butter and more sugar. So just cover this all over again, just like that. More sugar on top. We want these to be really lovely and sweet and get that cinnamon flavour going in. Shake that over. And then now you're probably thinking, how do I turn this into a rose? Well, I promise you, it's really simple. So what you're going to do is start at one end, pick it up, and then just roll it in on itself. Just like that. And you'll see as you create this kind of tight spiral, you form what looks like a beautiful rose like that. And you can take these edges of pastry and just kind of tuck them in against the sides. If you need a little bit of butter, you can just kind of stick that on just like that, seal it, and then I can put those to one side and repeat it for the rest of them. So once you've sealed your final apple rose, what you want to do is just take a muffin tray, and we're going to just place these in just like that. And once they're in there, these are going to go in the oven for about 45 minutes at 375 Fahrenheit or 190 C. And if they look like they're browning a little bit, just put some foil on top, and then you're good to go. So once these have cooked completely, they look absolutely stunning. So I'm going to lift this out with a palette knife, just gently. And you can see these have held their shape. They've got that lovely fluted rose look, that golden colour from that glorious puff pastry. And the only thing we need to do to finish these off is tap a little bit of icing sugar on top, and they are done. You just tap that really gently, like a snowflake on top. Just like that. So there you have it, your apple rose, this absolutely glorious little dessert. So if you're thinking of giving something to someone special, then why not try this out this year? Forget about that bouquet of flowers, it's all about the apple rose.